Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Liam, and I have just gotten a brand new, fancy 4K camera. Oh, look at my dry hands. And I was just messing around, and I was trying to think of ways of testing it out, and I thought, well, there's a project I've kind of wanted to mess around with for... How dusty is my desk? Very dusty. There's a project I've wanted to do for a while, and I thought this might be a good opportunity to experiment with it, see how it goes. So I'm a big fan of games magazines. Here's a recent issue of Edge magazine, my favourite magazine here in the UK. And I've been reading magazines since I was probably about 9 years old. I used to read PlayStation Official magazine when I was a very young child, and then I graduated to Nintendo magazines, and now I'm subscribed to Edge. Sometimes I'll pick up a PC Gamer. And games magazines are really important to me. They have always kind of been my inspiration for these kind of projects, right? For 7 out of 10, they led me to Push Square. They've always kind of validated games journalism as an industry that I've wanted to be part of. So what I really wanted to do, I wanted to just go through a couple of issues that I've kept hold of over the years, ones that have meaning to me, ones that I haven't read for the best part of a decade, and just kind of look through them, see what's going on, see what was happening in the industry at that time, what games were being reviewed, what the general verdict was about certain maybe games that have been lost to time or games that have become classics in the meantime. The issue we'll be looking at today is this little slightly torn bad boy here. This is Cube magazine, issue number 14. This was published in December 2002, like I mentioned, here in the UK. It's 100% an unofficial Nintendo GameCube product. Features 132 pages, that's what you like to see. So this issue in particular is really important to me because it was probably the first magazine. It's not the first magazine I ever bought. It's not even the first issue of Cube I ever bought. I actually found an issue from the month before when I was digging this one out of storage. But this was the first magazine I ever owned that kind of validated the industry for me. It got me excited about the possibility of potentially one day writing for a magazine or doing something around games as a career. Now, I was 10 years old when this issue came out, a fresh-faced 10-year-old in December of 2002. And I didn't know what I wanted to be yet, and this kind of made me want to be a journalist for a long time. Now, my life never really went in the path of journalism in the end. I became a web designer, as some of you may know. But this little magazine is very, very important to me, and you can tell how much I loved it because of how tatty it is. You can see that I clearly read this one a hell of a lot. So Cube magazine ran from the launch of the GameCube in 2001 all the way up to, I believe it was Christmas 2005. So what's that? Maybe the year before the Nintendo Wii came out. I believe it just folded. People, obviously, Nintendo wasn't the biggest brand in the mid-2000s. The GameCube didn't sell as much as the PlayStation 2. So maybe just the market for a GameCube-specific magazine, there wasn't one, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So it folded in 2005, and I bought every issue from this one all the way up to that final issue in December 2005, 3 years after this issue was published. So on the front here, we have a 4-page hands-on for Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. It's a preview. The bloodiest fighter of them all reinvented. We've played it. It rocks. There's Scorpion there throwing his classic spear, which comes out of his hand. I don't think I've ever really considered where it comes out of, but there it looks like it's threaded directly into his palm. Elsewhere we have Metroid Prime, the review. You wanted the best, you got the best. Resident Evil 4 news. Capcom take brown trousers to the next level. What's interesting about that, and I'm sure we'll get into it as we go along, that looks like a screenshot from the initial demo of the game that was cancelled. So it's interesting. I'm curious to see what stage the game was at when this was published. We've got Legend of Zelda, tons of new stuff to wet your wand. Lovely. Cube Awards 2002. The Gons everyone's talking about. I'm very curious to see what won in the Cube Awards for 2002. Final Fantasy IV play. Well done. The daddy of all RPGs. Enough said. That's some very classic early 2000s UK game journalism double entendre there. And Soul Calibur 2. Only girls fight with their fists these days. Yeah, like I say, this was a different era, I suppose. So let's have a look inside here then. So what have we got here? It's an advert for Bomberman Generation, out 6th of December, exclusive to the Nintendo GameCube. I did not know that there was a Bomberman exclusive for the GameCube, but fair enough. So this seems to be the first issue that Miles Guttery was editor of the magazine. Interesting. Okay, let's have a little look. We don't need to see the contents, let's just dive straight in. So, up front, the games you don't want to miss, so I assume this is just the initial news section of the magazine. We have Crystal Chronicles, which has just been re-released this year. Those screenshots do not look good. They look incredibly blurry. I used to love this about old magazines, because sometimes you just couldn't capture it, I guess. Percentage complete, just under 75%. How do you know that? Cube. At a glance, Final Fantasy comes home. Yeah, because I guess it had been on the PlayStation up until this point for a while. Old school character design, 4-player adventure, GBA Link compatible, familiar enemies. Incredible. And it looks like we can go to what does that say? TotalGames.net to watch movies and see more pictures. I mean, it was the future, wasn't it? Soul Calibur 2. Don't worry about the possibility of full online multiplayer matches. Did it have online on the GameCube? Can't remember that being a thing. Prepare to meet the most fearsome characters in beat-em-up history. I loved Soul Calibur 2. I never owned it, but my friend did. My friend used to buy all the fighters on the GameCube, and we used to play so much of Soul Calibur 2, and we used to fight over who would be Link. Because only one of us were allowed to be Link, but the fact that Soul Calibur 2 had Link in on the GameCube version is fascinating. Oh, who else was in it? Each version had like a different character. Did the PS2 version have the lad from Tekken in? I think it did. Oh, GameCube news. Everything going down in the world of Nintendo right here, right now. What is this? 3 for the price of 1. I love that gap here. Look at that. That's wonderful. What is... No, you're not dreaming. This is gaming heaven. So they're trying to translate some Japanese stuff there. That's wonderful. 2 Zeldas and we don't understand the rest. Yeah, fair enough. It seems that, in Japan at least, Nintendo was really stepping into a higher gear for Christmas and the New Year. Not content with securing 5 original titles from Capcom. Was this when they just announced the Capcom 5? Oh, wonderful. Pages 12 to 13. Can't wait to turn the page. They've also taken it upon themselves to turn Zelda into the most desirable thing in existence. As if the game on its own wasn't good enough, Nintendo will also throw in a GameCube version of Ocarina of Time and previously unreleased Ura Zelda, an Ocarina of Time expansion pack that was originally planned for the ill-fated 64DD, plus movies of Resident Evil 4 and Sega's F-Zero GameCube. And all of this for the same price as the regular game. Yeah, so I had this. This was the version of Wind Waker that came bundled with an extra disc that had Ocarina of Time and Master Quest on it. And I had this. This was the version of Wind Waker that I was given for my birthday, probably the year after this, so probably in 2003 when the game came out. But yeah, I owned that. It was wonderful. You could play Ocarina of Time on GameCube. I never finished it on GameCube. And then I sold it. I fucking traded it in. I traded in my GameCube, all my GameCube games, including things like Eternal Darkness, all the Resident Evils, this special edition Wind Waker, and Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes, which goes for an absolute shit ton these days. I traded them all in for an Xbox 360, not even an Elite, an original 360, and a copy of Gears of War 2, Halo 3, and the recently released Resident Evil 5. Can you imagine? Absolute shite. Oh, here we go. 5-star treatment. Capcom reveals GameCube dedicated development studio. Oh my god. This is the Capcom 5, which is one of my favourite stories about Nintendo and Capcom, because it's so relevant to my interests. It's Nintendo and Capcom crossed together. I should do a video on this at some point. So Capcom 5 was... Capcom and Nintendo made a deal to effectively make 5 titles that would be exclusive to the GameCube. And it ended up that one didn't come out, the elusive Dead Phoenix, an air-based shoot-'em-up, not out in summer '03. But product number 3, I think Beautiful Joe, Killer 7 and Biohazard 4, obviously Resident Evil 4, all went to PlayStation 2 and other consoles. But at this point in time, At this point in time, we never dreamed of seeing games this good in this console generation. These are true second generation titles. Second generation? What do you want about second generation? Wasn't this this was the 6th, wasn't it? Anyway. Yeah, so Capcom said that these games would become GameCube exclusives, and yeah, they didn't. They ended up putting them elsewhere. We got Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Remake, but this was huge at the time. The GameCube did not have third-party support, and this was a huge publisher banking on the GameCube and saying that we will support it with these incredible next-gen titles, these, exclusive games from some of our bigger franchises and some of our greatest minds. I mean, Shinji Mikami produced Killer 7, and Suda51 was involved in that as well, yeah. Goichi Suda there is the director, not known as Suda51 at this point, I assume. It says here that Resident Evil 4 was directed by Hiroshi Shibata, but I believe Shinji Mikami also directed Resi 4. Beautiful Joe, obviously Hideaki Kamiya, who did Devil May Cry and RE2 and has gone on to be the founder of Platinum Games. And product number 3 was also a Shinji Mikami joint. I did not know that. I should really play product number 3. But yeah, this was huge. This was huge for GameCube and for Nintendo fans in general. And then it didn't pay off. It all went to PlayStation 2 because fuck Nintendo, I guess. Cube says, what a month it's been. What with the Zelda news and then this. Every one of these 5 titles looks amazing, and 2 of them are out in Japan within the next 4 months. Capcom really is pushing the GameCube, and we're going to start seeing more and more second generation titles. What does that mean? As developers become more familiar with the hardware, and this is just the beginning, with Nintendo due to make a big announcement any day now, and companies such as Konami readying major titles. 2003 is going to be a year to remember. Woo! Well, moving on from that. Some stuff going on here. Nintendo DVD becomes a reality. Nintendo released its first ever promotional DVD going by the name of Nintendo DVD Autumn Issue. But you couldn't play that on the GameCube though, because there was no DVD player. Every Nintendo fan wanted to get their hands on this corking package. I wonder if you can get that anywhere. It'd be very, very interesting if that is anywhere on eBay. I bet that goes for a lot these days. What's this? This is what I'm really interested in. TV to go, a TV tuner for your Game Boy Advance. Never miss your favourite TV programmes ever again. I remember Blaze, just their stuff being in game and stuff. I think they did like cheat codes, and they were a bit like a Mad Catz for peripherals for game stuff, but a TV tuner for your Game Boy Advance. Patent pending, what does that mean? Incredible. Yeah, I want to watch TV on my fucking Game Boy Advance. Yes, please. Oh, I love these so much. These were like custom graphics that you would put on top of your GameCube. So on the GameCube there was like a little circle on top, and you could actually pop that out and put in whatever you wanted. These aren't that good, to be fair. I wouldn't put them on. I know I did have one on my GameCube. I can't remember which one. I'm sure there'll be an issue somewhere in my box that has these cut out. But yeah, that's really funny. Just 3 shit images. Oh, and a £5 voucher for game. Oh, I can get Chamber of Secrets, Metroid Prime, or 007 Nightfire. Oh, look at this. Look at this. TotalGames.net. Up to the minute news, the hottest cheats in town, chat with like-minded gamers in the forums. Yeah, that's what you want. Oh, here's some releases. Anticipation ratings, that's interesting. So it was out in the UK in 2002. X-Men Next Direction, Shrek Extra Large, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers, Resident Evil 2. Oh, good lord, I love those copies of Resident Evil. Oh, that's in the US, my apologies. Ghost Recon, Resident Evil 3. That's also... Oh, so they came out. Interesting, so 2 and 3 came out in the US. The re-releases for GameCube anyway in the same month. It's interesting. Okay, so really the big ones there for the UK were Metroid Prime, 13, I guess. Animal Crossing. Oh, Animal Crossing came out Q103. Interesting. And what's this? UK chart. What was the UK chart week ending 30th of November 2002? Star Fox Adventures, which Cube gave a 9.4. That is way too high. Super Mario Sunshine, Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets, Die Hard Vendetta. I used to like that game. That was a canon game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Love that game. FIFA 2003, there's always a FIFA in the charts, no matter how far back you go. Star Wars, Clone Wars, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Time Splitters 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee. There's not a lot of games out at the time. Whatever happened to goodies we were promised that have mysteriously failed to appear? An SD memory card adapter. Could this be the future of game saving? Saving to an SD card? Yeah, I guess, like, to an extent. Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I can't believe that. Yes, you were right. You called that. It will be the future of game saving eventually. On Nintendo hardware, anyway. Oh, here we go. Right, the Cube Awards. 2002. Sorry, that magazine wasn't very centered in the frame there, was it? Best Adventure Game, Super Mario Sunshine. Best Graphics, Star Fox Adventures. Yeah, okay. I suppose it did look really nice. I'll agree with that. Best Publisher, Nintendo. I mean, you're a Nintendo magazine, of course you can say that. The Virgin Trains Award for holding the customer in utter contempt, Universal Studios. I mean, that was shite, that game, Universal Studios. I remember Cube always taking the piss out of Universal Studios of just being absolute arse. And it was arse. It's one of the lowest rated games of all time, I think. Best Sound, Nintendo. I mean, what are you doing here? Is that really relevant? We know that you like Nintendo. Best Arcade, Super Monkey Ball. Best Multiplayer, Time Splitters 2. I agree with that. I don't know why you had to put the sexy robot lady who has metal underboob. Is anything more 2002 than a robot lady with metal underboob? Jesus Christ. The Can't Be Bothered award for plain and simple lack of effort. Cell Damage. Cell Damage has been held in much higher regard in the years since its release than it was at the time. Because I remember a few magazines rating it really low because it was so short. But it was cheap, right? I remember Cell Damage being, like, really cheap. Best Shooter, Time Splitters 2. Best Sports, Tony Hawk's. Most Innovative, Pikmin. Best Game, Time Splitters 2. Interesting. I do love Time Splitters 2, but that beat out all the other games that were released in 2002. Ordinarily, you'd expect Nintendo to be behind the finest game of them all. They've certainly been no slouches on the software front during the first few months of the GameCube's life, with Mario Sunshine, Pikmin and Star Fox all scooping gongs elsewhere in this very feature. However, none have quite touched the heights of Nintendo's past glories, and after much debate, the unanimous decision of the Cube team is that Free Radical's blockbusting shooter just pips everything else to the post. I mean, yeah, Time Splitters 2 was one of my all-time favourite games on the GameCube. It's all me and my friends used to play. It's an absolutely stellar game. I'd love to see a remaster of that. 20 reasons to own a GameCube in 2003. Hot for 2003. Oh my days. Okay, let's see. We got Metroid Prime, Animal Crossing, Super Monkey Ball 2. I guess Animal Crossing, just no one knew what it was at this point because it had never been released in the West. So this was a huge thing. I never played it. I never played it till the DS version, but I remember Cube and other magazines were real big on Animal Crossing at this time. Super Monkey Ball 2, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Star Fox Armada. Ooh. I think Star Fox Armada ended up being Star Fox Assault, which was not a good game. Game Boy Player, Pikmin 2, Capcom. Two Human came out on the Xbox 360 and it was shite. I always forget that Two Human was very, very long in development. But apparently it's a reason to buy a GameCube in 2003, even though it didn't come out on the 360 until like 2010. Mario Kart. Yeah, I guess you didn't have a Mario Kart. Nintendo Online. Now online gaming really could take off. I would still say that online gaming hasn't taken off in 2020 for Nintendo, but that's fine. Final Fantasy, yeah, Legend of Zelda, Tales of Phantasia, Tornado, the spiritual sequel to the Turrican games. Tornado stars a hero with a huge gun in place of an arm. It's all very Metroid Prime, but Factor 5 is yet to reveal whether it will be a first or third person adventure. Did that come out? Put it on the screen right now if that ever came out, Liam. Hello. Editing Liam here. Tornado was cancelled on the GameCube, unfortunately. It began development on the N64 from what I found, but no, it never came out. Sorry to let you all down. I don't think it did. Triforce, GameCube-powered arcades ahoy. Earlier in the year, Nintendo announced that it joined forces with Sega and Namco to take the GameCube hardware into the arcades. I wonder if that ever happened. Maybe that happened with the Mario Kart arcade game. Maybe that was powered by a GameCube? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Ridge Racer 6. Interesting. Okay, moving on to some previews. We have Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. This was a big game for me growing up. Now, I never owned this because I was too young. So when did this come out? February 2002. Wait, what? That must be wrong, because it was December 2002, wasn't it? Yeah, so that must mean 2003. So this came out early 2003, and a friend of mine, same friend who had Soul Calibur 2, who lived up the road from me, he bought Deadly Alliance from his local HMV, because his mum didn't care what games he owned, my mum did, and we used to play this all the time. And Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance was the first Mortal Kombat game I ever played, and I absolutely loved it. Holy shit, it ruled. It kind of like began this love for Mortal Kombat that me and my pals had for a long time. You know, we played it on the GameCube and the PS2 and the Wii. And for me, this was my first one. And it's interesting, I guess, why this one was my first one, because, you know, I'm 28 now, I was born in 1992. The arcades weren't really a thing for me. Arcade culture had just kind of passed me by, and obviously Mortal Kombat was such a huge game in the arcades, and I guess I was too young to have played it on, you know, the Super Nintendo or the Mega Drive or even the PlayStation 1. And, you know, being 10 in 2002, kind of going into, you know, 11 in 2003, that's probably the age that you want to be getting into games that have a lot of blood and gore in them, right? And this just delivered in every single way. I loved it. Fatal Frame, sure to get the tabloids in a rage with a nice fatality. I wonder how Deadly Alliance fares. I loved Deadly Alliance so much, and I wonder if people at the time liked it. Oh, I remember this song. You can view a behind-the-scenes documentary that gives you an insight into how the game is created, and also see the special music video for Immortal from the latest heavy rock sensation, Edema. Preparing to play a set at next year's Ozfest, they are sure to catch on with the hoodie-worshipping massive. I'm going to play a clip of this song right now. Let's watch the clip now. I used to listen to this all the time. Every time we booted up Deadly Alliance, we would play that song and then play the game. Oh my god. So I guess they were reviewing it and they didn't have time, so they did a preview. Wow. Total Advance magazine. Interesting. So they had a sister magazine just about the Game Boy Advance. Very interesting. What's this? RTX Red Rock? The fuck is this? It's an original creation by LucasArts. Did this ever come out? RTX Red Rock. That looks really interesting. 10 levels, original characters, multiplayer options, action, puzzles, exploration, sci-fi locales, and story. Published by Activision, developed by LucasArts. And apparently it was nearly 75% complete and was due to release in May 2003. I mean, I'll look for this, I'll pop it on screen if it ever came out, but I don't think it did. I definitely don't recognise that name. Hello, it's me again. So RTX Red Rock did come out in June 2003 for the PlayStation 2. It did not come out for the GameCube, that version was cancelled, and the game has a Metacritic score of 49, so it's fair to say that people did not like this. And you look at gameplay as well, and it looks pretty dated even for the time. It does not look as good as this preview implies. So yeah, you've learned something new today. Did you play RTX Red Rock on the PlayStation 2? I'd love to know. Please do let me know. Oh, these are the ones. These are the pages I love looking at. Special Reserve. Discount Network Special Reserve. Would I cheat on Lara? ukcheats.com. Gameaday.co.uk. Win any game of your choice every day. Winacar.co.uk. UK phone tones. Exchange console games and DVD movies. Incredible free gifts. A mains adapter for my GBA. A free official FIFA 2003 football. A GBA carry case. A memory card for GameCube. Extension cables for GameCube. These are incredible. Wow. Oh, my camera has just overheated. These are the things I need to learn. Oh no. Oh no, what the hell is this? He's got to have them all. Crash Bandicoot in bed with 4 busty women. Now available on Nintendo GameCube. Oh no, what the hell is this? Why is this an advert? Who at Universal? I mean, Universal really did a number on Crash and Spyro in this era. This was the first game after Naughty Dog got rid of the series. Who thought that this would appeal to children? Who thought, ah yes, Crash Bandicoot, our mascot, that's very, very popular with the young'uns. Let's just put him in bed with a load of women, let's make him really horny? It's maybe the worst advert I've ever seen. Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter. 24th century salmon farmer. I've never heard of that. That sounds amazing. What the fuck is Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter? Again, nearly 75% complete and set for a 2003 release date. I want to see more of that. That looks amazing. What the hell is that? Cube in depth about Wind Waker. We can now reveal the storyline behind the first section of the game. These look like screenshots that were taken on a camera on an old television, I imagine. Deku Leaf and the Wand of Wind revealed. Wow. Nearly finished. So it came out May 03, did it? So I must have got it a few months after it came out. So this is it. This is him saying goodbye to his grandma, finding Tetra, and then going to the fortress, Forbidden Fortress, to find his sister. I love Wind Waker. I love it so much. I wish it was on Switch. I have it on Wii U, but I want it on Switch. Oh, look at his little sad face. What a lovely game. I was very excited for Wind Waker, and obviously previews like this really helped and made me anticipate it more. Every member of the Cube team has a copy of the game pre-ordered, and the same can be said for the game's TM boys, and even the monkeys over on Cube Solutions, even members of P2 and XBM are gagging, though they won't admit it. Basically everyone's remotely interested in gaming once in. Why? Because Miyamoto-san has never let us down before, and every single Nintendo-based Zelda game has been nothing short of monumental. Oh, Resident Evil 0. It's darker, scarier, and more exciting than Remake. No, it's not. This lad sins to leeches. Don't you try telling me that it's darker and scarier than the original Resident Evil. Good game though. Flawed. It's not the best. It was kind of the start of the end for this particular era of Resident Evil games. Okay, reviews. Reviews are good. Let's have a look at what they were reviewing this month. Metroid Prime, Cube Star game. Of course it is. I mean, an absolute GameCube classic. Some boss encounters can go on for half an hour. Can they? I love Metroid Prime. The first Metroid Prime is such an all-time classic game. It has so much going on for it. It's an import review from the US. Amazing. Imagine that. Imagine games coming out in America before over here. I mean, that's happening now with the PlayStation 5, but you've got to think that's more to do with COVID than anything else. What I loved so much about Metroid Prime is that it just evolved the original kind of like, I want to say Metroidvania, but I heard someone call it something else the other day. I think it was exploration action game. That's a genre. Exploration action. That's a good genre. Yeah, it just evolved it into the 3D space in such a wonderful way, and I just don't think many other games capture the same level of atmosphere and exploration mechanics and just the sense of adventure than the original Metroid Prime. A lot of backtracking, but I kind of liked that. I think it really immersed you in the world and really made you feel like you were there and you were trying to uncover the secrets of this very large open-ended world. Love that game. Absolutely wonderful. Awarded a 9.6. That's what I like to see. More Nintendo than Nintendo. This will change the public perception of the company. In terms of atmosphere, design, execution, and sheer immersion, Metroid Prime is without doubt the best title yet on GameCube. Yeah, I agree with that. Wonderful game. It's ironic that it's taken a Western developer to create such a rewarding game. I don't know if I entirely agree with that. I think Metroid Prime reinvented the Metroid series, but Nintendo were doing so many interesting, cool things with games on the GameCube. Every single first-party release on the GameCube was experimenting in some way with franchises, and Retro just did the same with Metroid. But, Wind Waker, Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Star Fox Adventures, all of these games were just kind of taking existing franchises and just having free reign to be experimental with them, and that's what I really love about them. Oh, Medal of Honor Frontline. This was a favourite of mine. Single player was good. The original level set on D-Day was fantastic, but I didn't ever finish the single player, I don't think. But the multiplayer between this and Time Splitters 2, that was basically every single night for me and my friends. I love the atmosphere and style of this game, but the lack of any improvement over the PS2 version apart from multiplayer is a big mistake on EA's part. Was the multiplayer exclusive to GameCube? How bizarre. Oh god. BMX XXX. I remember this. Never played it obviously, but I remember it being absolute turds. 4.5? That's not that low. Sick joke. Why do companies think they can get away with flogging this tosh? The only way to protest is not to buy it, no matter how drunk you are. Aggressive inline or Tony Hawk it ain't. So according to this, you were rewarded with FMV segments of women with their boobs out. But that was it. That was the most extreme, gratuitous thing you would find. Stats, topless dancing girls. Okay, just a different era, wasn't it? But ugly Martians. Victory or Earth is toast. Get into BKM and taunt the evil aliens. Text in "so ugly" to a number for your chance to win PlayStation 2, Nintendo, GameCube or Game Boy Advance consoles. Thousands of ringtones or logos, copies of the game and loads of merchandise. What the fuck was But Ugly Martians? Can't remember that at all. Experience action combat racing featuring unique hovering spacecraft. Can't remember that at all. And we're at the end now. This is the viewpoint. These were the letters, texts. Hiya, just a quick one. Are there any cheats for Super Mario Sunshine? Cube, you have to cheat in the form of codes or level selects, then sorry, there ain't none. My GameCube is not actually a cube as it's longer than it is tall. What is wrong? The games still work okay though. Have I got a dud? Cube, indeed. Fascinating stuff right there. Ugh, forums. It was always my lifelong ambition to be put into the forum sections of magazines, and if this becomes something I do more regularly, you will start to see me appear in these pages on certain magazines. Beat the team. Wow. Beat people's scores. Quite incredible, really, that this was even a thing. How to take the perfect snapshot. Turn off all the lights in your room so that you reduce the chance of light reflection on the screen. Also turn down the brightness slightly on your TV to reduce any glare the camera might pick up on. Switch off the flash in your camera. The light from the TV will be more than enough to illuminate the picture, and besides, the last thing you want to have your photo room by flashing out the screen. Take several pictures in case your first few turn out to be duds. Photos sent by email are not acceptable as they can be doctored in any bog standard paint program. Wow. Cheats. Incredible. I remember looking through these pages and just being absolutely just smitten by all the cheats and waiting a month and hoping that the games I needed help on would appear in these pages. I used to love these, the level editors. Used to make these all the time. Is that making GoldenEye levels? Solutions. Oh, and a Game Boy Advance section. Wow, you put Metroid Fusion in the back pages. That's bizarre. Even though you had a dedicated Advance magazine, I guess. 9.3 for Fusion. Agree with that. Absolutely. What an incredible game Fusion is. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is what I like. What we got here? Hilarious wind-ups 3. Get a mate irate. Call this number and choose the wind-up. Key in your mate's number and listen in and hear their reaction. Calls cost £1 a minute. Red hot and thrilling chat. For Vodafone, Cellnet, Orange and T-Mobile users. You got all your little Nokia 3310 images. I want one that says pervert in Sum 41. More ads. Santa Claus Saves the Earth is being sold in the back of a magazine, as are a number of games. Are they self-published games? That doesn't look like a proper PlayStation cover. Crazy giveaways. Thank you, Topless Woman from Dead or Alive, I think. Cube Directory. It's weird that this used to be a thing, that you buy a magazine and they would just list out every game that was on the system, and they would put them in the back of the magazine and categorize them by genre, and would tell you things like publisher, developer, players, GBA link up, guide. Oh, it even tells you the issues that they put a guide in. How many memory blocks it uses, what issue it is covered in, what version they reviewed, and the rating. God, there wasn't many games in 2002. Incredible. So the best games were Time Splitters 2, Star Fox Adventures. They put Star Fox Adventures above Mario Sunshine. I don't like Mario Sunshine, but I think that's a bit interesting. Eternal Darkness, Resident Evil. Okay, this Game Station, the old Game Station branding, where it's never game over. Well, it was for you eventually, lads. Where it's never game over. Well, it was eventually, wasn't it? So I could get a GameCube with Eternal Darkness, Mario Sunshine, in Star Fox Adventures for only $139.99. Wow. So what was in the magazine next month? We had the exclusive review for Wind Waker. We had a review for Star Wars Bounty Hunter, definitive reviews of all the latest GameCube titles, including Skies of Arcadia, Legends of Wrestling, Lord of the Rings 2 Towers, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, plus more Biohazard 4, more levels in Time Splitters 2. Oh, a nice advert for Games TM. Love that magazine as well. It's a wonderful magazine there. Was this brand new at the time? Coming 28th of November, so it must have just started. It was issue 1, so Games TM had just started. I love Games TM too, it's a shame that folded a few years back. Back issues of Cube. I'd love to send that off and see if Paragon Publishing definitely don't exist anymore. Animal Crossing Diary. Oh wow. It's a wonder looking at these pages why I never wanted Animal Crossing, but I guess it was just too hard to get a hold of maybe. I can't remember ever seeing a copy of Animal Crossing on GameCube in a shop. Ever. And I loved Harvest Moon, so I would have thought that would be my next big thing, but just never did. Cheats Unlimited. Cheats Unlimited and the Cheats Unlimited CGI render woman was a fixture in games magazines at the time. The Cheat Mistress. Call me 24/7, I've got what you need. Do you? Do you have Grand Theft Auto Vice City cheats? Call now. If you're under 16, call this number. 60 pence per minute. Why was there an under and over 16 number? I assume it's for games. Or was there like a sexy element? And on the back here we have an advert for Spyro, which I believe is the shit one. I'm trying to look around the camera to see which one it is. Yeah, End of the Dragonfly. That was the bad one. That was the awful one. Alright, so that is a little, hopefully, interesting and relaxing read through of Cube issue 14 from December 2002. I bought this magazine from a Sainsbury's in Washington and then went on Christmas Eve. Actually, I bought this and then I went to my granddad's house for Christmas Eve with all my family, and I remember reading this and then getting presents. I remember getting a copy of I think maybe Rayman 2 on the PlayStation 1 from my granddad. And my cousin got me Super Furry Animals Radiator on CD, which I was too young to like music. But a few years later I listened to that and it completely changed my outlook on music. That's a wonderful album. And this magazine right here, it got me into the concept of writing about games. I read this from cover to cover multiple times and then rushed out in January to buy the next issue. As lame as it might sound, this was a very influential issue for me, and yeah, it's been fun to revisit it. I mean, I'm just testing out the camera, right? But it has been fun to do. So if you enjoyed this, please let me know. This will probably go up when I don't have anything else to put on the channel and I can be bothered to edit it together. So God knows when it'll go up. But if you enjoyed this, please do let me know, and maybe I'll make this a more regular thing. I've got a box full of magazines I'll be happy to flick through and talk about. And if you hated this, don't let me know. I'm very sensitive. But thank you very much, and hopefully you'll see more of this new camera. Can I say bye? Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon with more interesting things, hopefully. Hope you're all keeping well, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.